When communities face challenges, everything suddenly feels heavier. The world gets loud, overwhelming, and honestly, a little scary. But look closer, and you'll always find people stepping up. Neighbors handing out food, students helping teachers, volunteers rebuilding what was lost. These moments remind us something we don't talk about enough. Leadership isn't just a title, it's compassion in motion. It's choosing to show up even when things are hard for the community. And in those difficult moments, something powerful happens. People rediscover what it means to be connected. You see strangers becoming friends, families becoming support systems for others, and small acts turning into movements. It's in these simple gestures that we learn the truth. Leadership isn't born in comfort. It emerges in crisis, shaped by empathy and courage. And sometimes, in these moments of uncertainty, people discover strengths they didn't even know they had. A parent becomes the calm in the storm. A student becomes the voice that brings people together. A small act becomes the spark that gives the whole community a sense of direction again. It's a reminder that leadership isn't always loud or grand. Sometimes it's as simple as being present, offering what you can, and choosing compassion even when the world feels heavy. These quiet beginnings often become the foundation of something bigger. Something that grows because people believe their actions mattered. And that kind of leadership, we see it every day in programs like Angat Buhay. Here, volunteers work side by side with students, teachers, doctors, and entire communities. No hierarchy, no us versus them, just people helping people. Whether it's preparing food packs, cleaning up neighborhoods, or organizing health missions, the message stays the same. Service leadership hits different when it's grounded in empathy. It's real work with real impact, and we can learn a lot from that. What's even more inspiring is how these efforts ripple outward. A volunteer teaches a child, and that child gains confidence to dream bigger. A health worker checks on a mother, and suddenly, a whole family feels seen and supported. A community comes together for a cleanup, and suddenly, the place they live in becomes a source of pride again. These aren't just tasks, they are threads that weave communities tighter and stronger. And every time someone steps up, it encourages another person to do the same. And if you look closely at these efforts, you'll notice something beautiful. They create a culture of care. One community learns from another. One initiative inspires the next, and suddenly you're witnessing a chain reaction of kindness. You will see students organizing mini drives of their own, families opening their homes to help neighbors, and professionals sharing their expertise without expecting anything back. It becomes proof that empathy isn't passive, it's active, contagious, and deeply transformative.
Service leadership isn't complicated. It's a collaboration. It's the willingness to listen, to share a meal, to lend a hand even when no one is watching. And the best part, anyone can lead this way. You don't need a position. You don't need permission. You just need intention to show up, to care, and to lift others with you. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't about being in front. It's about bringing people forward with you. Sometimes, leadership looks like offering your time, but other times it's offering your ear, letting someone feel heard when life gets too heavy. It's not measured in applause, it's measured in the quiet moments when someone says, "Thank you, I really needed that." And maybe that's the beauty of it. Service leadership grows in ordinary interactions. A small gesture becomes an invitation becomes a movement, and a movement becomes a community that lifts each other every single day. And sometimes, service leadership means slowing down long enough to understand what someone truly needs. Not assuming, not dictating, but listening with intention. Because when people feel heard, solutions become clearer. Walls come down and collaboration becomes more than just working together. It becomes building trust, healing, and belonging. It's in these small moments of connection that communities grow stronger, not because of a single leader, but because everyone becomes a leader in their own way.
Service leadership becomes real when you can actually see it in action. Across Angat Buhay projects, it shows up in different ways in classrooms, clinics, small businesses, and even disaster sites. You'll see volunteers distributing learning kits to kids who need them, doctors and nurses offering free consultations to families who rarely get access to healthcare, and teams working shoulder to shoulder to pack relief goods after a disaster hits. These aren't just programs, they are proof that leadership rooted in service can transform communities one small act at a time. What you don't always see are the hours behind the scenes. Volunteers sorting donation late at night, teachers planning modules for kids who miss school, youth leaders coordinating with barangays to make sure every families get what they need. And in every corner of these efforts, there's a shared understanding. No one is too young, too old, or too ordinary to make a difference. Service becomes a bridge between what is and what could be. And every act, no matter how small, becomes part of a bigger story of hope. Behind every successful project, there are countless unseen moments. The brainstorming sessions that last until sunrise, the volunteers who rearrange their schedules just to help, the coordinators who make sure no community is forgotten. These behind-the-scenes effort create a rhythm, a heartbeat that keeps every mission moving forward. And every time a project succeeds, it reminds the entire community of what's possible when people move with purpose and compassion. It reminds us that the most powerful solutions often come from unity, from communities believing in their capacity to uplift each other.
But here's something we often forget. Service leadership isn't the same as traditional leadership. Traditional leadership starts with authority, the title, the position, the hierarchy. Service leadership begins somewhere completely different. Empathy. It's the volunteer listening closely to a farmer's story and thinking, okay, let me lock in. It's the youth leader taking notes from community feedback instead of giving out orders. It's choosing collaboration over command, connection over control. And honestly, that's the kind of leadership our generation resonates with. The kind that actually listens. Because the truth is, people don't follow titles, they follow trust. And trust is built when leaders aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. When they sit with people in their struggles and understand problems not from a distance but from the ground. Service leadership asks one simple question: how can I help? And sometimes, that question opens doors that authority alone never could. This kind of leadership doesn't just guide communities, it empowers them. It reminds everyone that their voice, their presence, and their stories matter. Service leadership also challenges how we define strength. It shows us that real strength isn't about standing above others, but standing with them. It's not about having all the answers, but being willing to ask better questions. Not about taking control, but creating space where others feel confident to speak, contribute, and lead. And when leaders embody empathy, people feel safe enough to share their struggles, offer solutions, and take part in shaping the community they dream of. In the end, leadership becomes less about output and more about impact. Impact built on sincerity, humility, and shared purpose. Service leadership invites us to show up differently, not for recognition, but for connection. When volunteers and community members walk together, there is a quiet kind of strength in it. Shared purpose, shared hope. You see it in their smiles, their ease with one another, the sense that they're building something that lasts. And maybe that's the real message. You don't need power to lead. You just need the willingness to care and the courage to act on it. Because service isn't about being in front, it's about lifting others as you go.